Welcome back to the PI show, the only show in Australia dealing with personal injuries. We're dealing with another case which I think was decided in Victoria, and it was an interesting case because one sister sued another sister under a household insurance
policy.
And the facts of the case were that on a Sunday she came over to visit the sister. She was helping out around the house. Her sister had a steel garage she was dismantling, and she asked her sister to help, and the sister helped, and they were trying to sort of dismantle it. They had a hammer. They bolted out some. They smashed out some bolts. The whole steel structure collapsed, and the sister who sued suffered an injury to her knee. How can one sister sue another sister?
Well, the sister that sued the other sister because she had no part to play in this, in a whole plan to remove this frame. She was called by the defaulting sister, if I could put it that way, to go and give her a hand, and through no fault of her own, she was severely injured. She basically went out there and just holding on and told to do certain things that the sister that knew what was going on did nothing to ensure her safety. But
the sister just didn't, well, I suppose, didn't think about safety, didn't sort of say or do anything. I mean, she just called, I think one sister was the plaintiff was called Sharon, and the defendant was called Robin. And Robin, the defendant, just called the sister, "Can you please help?
Hold on to this.
Hold on to this." And
in fact, it got worse than that. Not only did she say hold on, she said, "Just hit this thing so that the bolt
comes out."
Well, it did come out, and the thing came on top of her.
And it hit her. I think ultimately
it knocked her over,
and she damaged her
severely
knee.
Injured one of her knees. Yeah.
Okay. And what did the judge do?
Well, the judge said that the defaulting sister had no system
of
whatsoever.
Work.
Yeah, no system of work.
She just didn't turn her mind to it. She just didn't think.
Well, the judge said there should have been bracing, you know, to ensure that once you knock the bolts out, the structure doesn't collapse on top of you.
Yeah.
I mean, common sense to some extent, Harry.
But again, wasn't the Sharon, who's the plaintiff who was injured, wasn't Sharon partly to blame?
No, because she didn't turn her mind to anything. This thing happened.
Sharon?
This thing happened pretty quick. She assumed that, you know, it was safe. It's not as if they'd been knocking away and banging away for an hour. On the facts, the way I've read them, I think that it happened pretty soon after she went to assist Robin.
Robin, yeah. And so...
And mind you, if you went into the background a bit more, this Robin was pretty impulsive sort of character. You know, she's sitting in the house doing nothing. All of a sudden, she decides to go and dismantle. She started chipping away at concrete and dismantling sheds and all sorts of things. So she just,
this is on a Sunday. I think it's in January. It's on a summer's day. It's probably a nice day. They're all, the sisters were friendly. I mean, they weren't...
well, there was quite a few sisters, apparently. I think the family made up of about 3 or 4 sisters.
I think there were 5 sisters.
And one of the other sisters was
helping as well.
She went away for whatever reason. Then she called Sharon out there to give her a hand.
But...
and Sharon unwittingly went there, you know...
Just to help out her sister.
Yeah.
And then she ended up suing the sister.
She did.
And is that... how's that possible?
Once again, a bit like the earlier case of the child falling out of a bed, householders insurance or contents insurance would pick up public liability.
Okay. And what did the judge do in terms of damages? I mean, I think she was 58 at the time of the injury. She was living alone. I think her father died when he was 97. Her mother died when she was 92. Sharon was left alone. She'd never married.
On the law of averages, she's still got a third of her life ahead of her.
She was going to live into her 90s, probably.
Yeah, probably, who knows?
And I think she had a number of operations.
She had a lot of operations, and the judge, I think, gave her somewhere around a bit more than 80,000 for pain and suffering, and loss of enjoyment of life, which I think is a bit low.
So 80,000 for pain and suffering, and what else?
He awarded. There was evidence that she'd probably need a knee replacement in 15 years' time. Probably, not certain. So there was a figure thrown up in the air as to what that's going to cost, and he reduced it to bring it back to present values.
Okay,
they said the cost would be 25,000. He knocked it down significantly. I think he brought it back to about 10.
Okay, and so she got sort of something for medical expenses.
Yeah,
I mean, she wasn't working at the time, so she was sort of, not
but
working.
her total payout was about 150 something. So I'd imagine that there was some allowance made for loss of income. She was not working.
No,
at all.
not working. No, not working. Yeah, so, I mean, future medicals, and things around the house and matters of that sort. But just getting back to the principles. So, one sister can sue another sister if something happens around a house.
Yep.
And there's fault.
The owner/occupier's got to have a reasonable duty of care to ensure that whatever they engage in, they apply some common sense principles of safety.
And the case, I think, ran in the county court in Victoria, and then went to the Court of Appeal. And what happened in the Court of Appeal?
Well, the Court of Appeal left the case as it was. I think it went to the Court of Appeal on the issue of whether Sharon, the plaintiff, was contributory negligent. That is, she contributed to her
She was partly
injuries.
at fault.
Yeah. Well, the Court of Appeal said no.
But, I mean, the argument was she should have turned her mind to or thought about what she was doing. She just sort of was helping her sister on a Sunday afternoon, and just didn't think what she was doing.
Well, she went out there, unwittingly, unsuspecting, and she wasn't out there for long before the accident happened. So I think the Court of Appeal didn't knock anything off, and I think it was probably the proper verdict.
So she was a fair
decision.
A fair decision.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So
she didn't have time to think. I mean, she wasn't there for a long time. Just went out there after she was called, and most siblings would assist each other. I'm sure that you would, Harry. I mean, I have been known to go out there and help.
And help out in the family. Yeah. Well, it's a sad situation because it ended up really as a disaster for Sharon.
Yeah.
So it was, it was a sad situation, and
Harry, I don't think we've got much time left to this show, so just a couple of reminders for the viewers, I think.
Yeah. Well, could you? Any queries, questions? Please contact us on our website, and we'll be dealing with questions. I think answering questions on another occasion.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of questions, and they're interesting, and they'll probably take a bit of time, so we'll have to pick out a show for that.
Thanks for watching, and see you next week.